Welcome to the BSG Trainees podcast. I'm Rohit Kumar.
And I'm Sonika Sethi. We're the internal medicine reps for the BSG Trainees Committee, and we're excited to welcome you back for episode 2 of this new season of the podcast, speaking to people from around the world of gastroenterology.
In this second half of our series on BSG Live, we're returning to Liverpool this month, and this time we're catching up with some of the trainees and registrars we met around the venue.
In this episode, we'll hear their impressions of the conference, some of their earliest and fondest memories, and get a few tips for making the most of the event.
So I'm Tamara, I'm an F3 doctor working in South Yorkshire, and I'm one of the foundation reps on the BSG Trainees Committee.
Hi, I'm Alex. I work as a Foundation Year 2 doctor, and I work in the South Thames Deanery. And like Tamara, I'm also one of the Foundation Year reps for the BSG. Even though I'm at such a junior stage within my training as a junior doctor, I think that there's a lot that I have taken away in terms of the principles of management and clinical assessment of some of the common yet life-threatening conditions that we encounter within clinical practice. So I think it's put things into a lot better perspective than I was if I were to have attended this as a medical student.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just trying to attend at least one session from each of the different subspecialties just to try and really get a broad experience of gastroenterology.
And what about social? Are you looking forward to that particularly?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't miss it. Got our tickets.
I'm Lewis Davids. I'm an SD4 currently working at the Lister Hospital in the East of England Deanery.
Hi, I'm Rada, a gastro-reg in North Central East London.
I'm Arun Sivanandan. I'm a endoscopy research fellow working at Imperial.
Yeah, it's been a great start to BSG. So it's been here this morning and had a really great plenary with lots of quite niche subjects. So talking about kind of the effects of microplastics in the evolution of kind of GI cancers, early ages, the impact of that they will need to see with kind of the emergence of kind of green endoscopy and reducing carbon footprints of the NHS. So quite niche things, but really inspirational talks. And then, the fish curry was great at lunch. And it's been really lovely to catch up with fellow aged registrars who I haven't seen in 3 or 4 years. So a really lovely start. The microbiome and GI session is something I'm really looking forward to. Kind of it's clearly a world that has evolved really rapidly, and there is still so much work to be done. It's so much going to be a part of every conversation that we have towards personalised medicine, not only in gastroenterology, but in neurology, rheumatoid disease. Yeah, I think it's one that's really worth keeping at the forefront of.
Yeah, so my first BSG Live, I remember just kind of following the senior regs around like their lapdog. And yeah, some of it was quite challenging, but some of it was really, useful to see, to learn from. I remember specifically being very excited by the endoscopy live session. And even though I didn't understand what was happening, it was just inspirational to see Noriko doing an incredible ESD with all these people watching with rapt attention.
I think I probably felt a little bit lost at my first BSG and that feeling of wandering around the room, wondering whose conversations I felt bold enough to interrupt to say hi. I think it gets easier over time, and I think, the thing that we all need to do at conferences is network, but no one actually ever explains to you what exactly networking is. And you only really can start doing it by putting yourself in slightly awkward situations. So I think to some extent, if it's your first BSG, put yourself in a few awkward situations, feel a bit vulnerable. Lots of very friendly consultants will rescue that situation by talking at you for 90% of the time you're standing in front of them, and you'll get better and better at it. So I think, I probably felt quite lost, a little bit awkward, but it was kind of planting a seed for future conversations, which is great. It's been great.
I remember at my first BSG, I was just stood in the queue waiting for some food, and a consultant just came up and just started talking to me. He was a consultant down from Southampton, and he was a new consultant, and he just said, "Hi, who are you? Well, how are you doing?" And we just had a 20-minute chat, and he was talking about training, gave me some great tips, and it didn't seem like it was a senior, talking down to a junior. It just felt like two colleagues having a conversation, and I think that really stood out for me. That I think sometimes we get bogged down in hierarchy, but coming to this conference is a great time to realise that we're all colleagues, we're all here to help each other, and it's one of the great things about it.
Hi, my name's Sunny. I'm a clinical research fellow from the Sheffield Group, and I'm the previous chair of the BSG Trainees Committee, and I'm now the ex officio chair.
Hi, I'm Moj. I'm a Northwest ST6 Gastro Registrar. I'm a BSG rep for the Northwest and EDI rep for the BSG trainee section. I'm going to start my hepatology ATP hopefully soon in Nottingham and Cambridge.
And I must say, he's looking very dapper in his shirt.
Thank you very much. I'm actually sitting here shirtless.
Well, that's great. Moving on very swiftly, could you tell us how you're finding BSG Live this year?
BSG Live, I feel it goes year to year more and more fun. I think that's for a few reasons. One, you make more friends there. You get to see people who you may not have seen. 2, you understand more and more things as you get more experience. And 3, it's just nice to be back to face-to-face. Last year was brilliant being face-to-face, and it's just got bigger and it's just nicer. I miss seeing people.
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo what Sunny said, more or less. I've met a lot of people who I did my CMT with, I did a trust grade job with, and I've seen them after years, and it's exceptional how you can bring so many people together. I think we have over 2,000 delegates joining us this year, which is amazing. The other thing I think I really like about this event is there's a lot of like general gastro as well. So even though we're becoming more and more niche in what we do, like I want to do hepatology, there's still so much of like other stuff that we can learn. I attended some celiac talks, which is Sunny's hot topic yesterday, and I was completely out of my depth. So really lots of exciting and interesting talks.
I think one of the things you don't realise is how big it is when you first join. So you think it's going to be, like a med school lecture or something, but it's huge. There's an industry-sponsored area, there's lots of different posters, and it's just fun to walk around and see different things.
This impression of scale was something we heard from other attendees, and clearly opened people's eyes to the breadth and depth of the profession.
My name is Javed Ahmed. I am a trainee reg in Northwest London. I'm currently also a member of the AI task force for the BSG and also a trainee rep for the colorectal committee at the BSG.
And going back to your first experience at BSG Live, how was that?
Overwhelming, but in a good way, where you're just like, oh my God, there's so many gastroenterologists just in one place. But it was nice. So, everyone's always been super friendly. I remember I was like presenting a poster, I stood next to the poster quite nervous, who's going to come, but, everyone who came and chatted, it was almost like a friendly family, and everyone was like, wanted to know more about you. And no, I really enjoyed it. I think that sort of set the spark, because I was a core medical trainee then. I thought, I want to come back to this if I can and stay longer. So that was good.
Of course, the BSG trainees were well represented at the conference too. Hi Yaz, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Yaz. I'm a registrar working in Brighton and currently out of programme doing research in hepatology, having just finished my SD5 year in September last year. And I'm the current trainee section chair of the BSG trainee section. So it's been a really good BSG, really good start to the conference. And I think obviously a different, unique experience for myself being a chair this year. So getting involved in a lot of meetings, especially on the first day with council and exec, looking at the next year of the BSG, planning for the strategy day of the BSG, and how we can improve and continue to represent trainees in our society.
The masterclasses and live demonstrations proved to be popular amongst the consultants we spoke with last episode, and this was strongly backed up by the trainees.
Educationally, I think as a registrar, the masterclass day is fantastic. I think they always put together a programme of things where I look at it and I go, I remember seeing that in clinic, and I remember having to look up the guidelines and work out what I need to do, so it's fantastic having those questions answered. So I think, for all the registrars at least, the masterclass day is an absolute must.
They give you just the right bit of information, and they're also quite practical as well, which is quite important. It's also really good that they're not theme specific, so you have a masterclass day where you cover everything. So all of your general gastroenterologists, especially for a registrar, all of it is covered, which is amazing.
I love endoscopy, so I love going to like Endo Village and the Endoscopy Live that's been on the last few days. So they've been the highlights for me, I would say.
Yeah, Endo Live, I will not miss that. Like I say, it's a real passion for me, and I just really like to see the skill sets that exist along our sort of consultant population.
One of my favourite things is obviously Endo Village, so a really unique opportunity to get some really excellent training for expert endoscopists that normally you pay a lot of money for that experience. So really enjoy that. I'm doing an ESD station this afternoon, did it last year, and to actually get an opportunity. So I had Rosa Vega from UCL training me for half an hour on a pig stomach how to do ESD, and that's just not an experience you can get in the hospital or without paying a lot of money for. So definitely would not miss Endoscopy Village ever.
Hi, my name is Aditi, also known as Dee. I'm one of the gastroenterology registrars currently working in the West Midlands. I'm also an associate editor for Frontline Gastroenterology, and I'm also on the BSG subcommittee for IBD as the trainee representative.
And do you remember much about your first experience at BSG Live and how that was like?
Yeah, it was a very long time ago. We won't mention how long ago, but I was a CMT, I guess now known as IMT, and I had an oral presentation. Ooh. And I remember Twitter had just come out. That's how old it was. Twitter had just come out at the time, and someone had tweeted that a CMT was doing an oral presentation and how incredible of an achievement that was. And I hadn't realized just how important it was at the time, but looking back, I can see that it was a really big deal.
That is really good. I mean, us as IMTs, we're like, wow, that's amazing. Aditi wasn't the only one with memories of her time as a CMT.
And I guess still sticking to memory lane, is there a favourite moment or talk that you could tell us?
I have one when I met Sunny for the first time. We actually, Sunny might not remember this, but when we were in CMTs, we came to Liverpool, and that was the first time I actually hung out with him in a bar, and realized Sunny dances a lot better than I do, so I actually didn't.
In Liverpool?
In Liverpool,
in that bar, yeah. It was, we had a live band.
Yeah.
I do remember, thank you very much. It was a fun night.
It was. If I had to mention one talk, I actually do remember there was this talk by an ICU hepatologist, and there's one today as well, actually. And I just thought she was so cool. I was like, wow, she's talking about numbers that I absolutely don't understand. Yeah. But wow. And I was completely mind blown. And that is what I wanted to do with my life. And I'd never met her before, and I haven't met her after that as well, sadly. But yeah, that was very life-changing for me.
Well, one day that could be you.
Yeah, possibly.
Others' fondest memories were along similar lines. Here's Yaz.
I think they tend to be the socials, to be honest, because that's the time when you get to, catch up with friends who are sometimes all over the country, friends from medical school who, a few of them have also gone into gastroenterology, which is good. So, yeah, I think that time, because sometimes it's a challenge to meet up with friends when you're all on medical on-call rotas to find that same time together. So for me, that social aspect of the BSG is one of the things that stays with me. One of the other symposiums actually from last year's BSG, which was really memorable, was the SWIG symposium. Okay. It was a very kind of thought-provoking session. I found some of the talks that highlighted SWIG is not just about supporting women in gastroenterology, it's supporting diversity in gastroenterology. Yeah.
Finally, we gathered some suggestions from our trainees for anyone looking to attend BSG Live in the future.
Take the time to actually go and introduce yourself. If you're interested in working with them, make it known that you want to work with them. Make sure you go to their talks. And in the evenings, even if you're a bit of an introvert, just go out, have those drinks, go and meet people, go to the social on the Wednesday evening. It's always a really big event, always really fun. So don't miss out on those events. As much as you go to the lectures, also do the social bits as well.
I think you should have a plan. You should know what you want to attend because it's massive, like Sunny mentioned. But I think something very personally, at least what I've realized is, and I had a chat with Yaz yesterday, which really helped. I came to the BSG and I didn't have any posters today. And I had 4 days off and I felt like a bit of a failure this year. And I spoke to Yaz and he was like, look, that's not the point. You're here to meet your friends. You're here to network. You're here to learn and have a good time. And I think at some point we need to take ourselves a little less seriously. Yeah. I think you guys are going to be exceptional gastroenterologists, but the same applies to you guys as well. So when you come, make friends, attend sessions, party like Sunny does till like 4 a.m. And you'll remember your BSG for a lot more.
Absolutely.
If you don't have a subspecialty interest yet, and a lot of early trainees, we're pushed to make a decision about what's our subspecialty interest early on, try and sample different kind of symposia, find out different talks. I think the plenary session is always a good one to go to. And just, walk around, I think, look at all the different posters and the different projects that people are doing to get inspired about things that you can take back home and and apply in your own hospital as a quality improvement project, as a registrar or as an SHR.
I think as long as you can read someone's name badge, definitely approach anyone and everyone. Don't be worried if you get blown off in a few conversations because someone's dashing off to check the room before they present in it. But I think be bold, approach people, and just get involved. Pick a thing a day that you want to go see, and don't go any wilder than that, I think. Because you'll end up missing out on lots of the ad hoc conversations that you can have by milling around by the coffee machine for a little bit as well.
Thanks very much for listening to this episode, which wraps up our series on the BSG Live conference. Special thanks to all our guests this month for sharing their stories with us.
We'll be back before not too long with another episode of the BSG Trainees podcast, so please subscribe on our podcast platform of choice to hear it as soon as it's published.
So it's bye from me, Rohit.
And a bye from me, Sonika.